that autumn wind. Shout out to the Raiders, man, we about to win.
The NFL trade deadline is on October 29th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. The Raiders have 2 first-round picks that you could see them use as trade bait. Now, they are projected to have $77 million in cap space in 2020. So today's show are around Raiders trade rumors and around 3 players in particular. Leonard Williams, Patrick Peterson, and Nelson Agholor. So essentially what I'm going to tell you is the latest trade rumors around that player, and then it doesn't make sense for the Raiders to go out and get him, and then the trade that it would take, or that I would offer, to get that player. Now let's talk about the latest rumors around Leonard Williams. So there's a report that the Jets are in full fire sale mode. They're just going to sell, right? Currently 1-4 on the season. They just beat the Dallas Cowboys, and I straight up celebrated watching that game. But teams apparently have been calling about Leonard Williams, and for good reason. Leonard Williams is a very, very talented player. Currently a defensive end for the New York Jets, but he's entering the last year of his contract. Now, Leonard Williams was a player that I personally liked a lot when he was first coming out of USC. And the Raiders, sure, they've been better on the defensive line this season compared to last season. But does Leonard Williams really make sense for this team? The reason why Leonard Williams' name is being brought up is, ever since he was drafted 6th overall back in 2015, he's been pretty productive on a very bad New York Jets team. We can all agree that the New York Jets have not been very good. And I can definitely say that. I used to work for the Jets in 2015 when they drafted Leonard Williams. Yeah, I was a college intern. I was literally the t-shirt guy that would shoot up extra large t-shirts into the stand. If you don't believe me, maybe I can find a picture. But yeah, that's what I used to do with the Jets. But the reason why we continue to get asked about Leonard Williams is simply because of, you're looking at players like, Max Crosby who have stepped up. You're looking at Cleveland Ferrell who needs to step up. But overall, this team needs to continue to get better. And we need to continue to grow on YouTube. Right now at 30K, trying to get to 30K subscribers, we're currently at 28,669. Raider family here, it blows my mind. When I go back and look at, when I hit 10K, when I dyed my hair gray, at 20K, and then when we hit 25K, I want to get to 30K. I want to do Edward 40 hands. And if you know some diehard Raider fans out there, like my man James Jones, Joshua Scott, Diesel Power, by the way, I watched some of your Raiders videos. If you need some tips, let me know. Logan Gates, the Iden Chimes, I'm not quite sure, but these people are always commenting on my videos. So if you're a loyal watcher and you're watching me live like Michael Rodriguez right now, take the link youtube.com/Raiders Report and send it to your friends, okay? Send it to your friends. It's the way we can continue to grow the show. So the question I continue to get asked, though, is, Mitch, Leonard Williams, should the Raiders trade for Leonard Williams? It'd be a cool story. He was born in Bakersfield, California. My only thing with him is he would play defensive tackle for the Raiders. So the reason why he's a defensive end is because the Jets, they run a 3-4 scheme. Now, the Jets, or I should say the Raiders, they still lack that elite defensive line player. Max Crosby definitely stepped up. Cleveland, I think, has the upside. Jonathan Hankins has actually been very good against the run. P.J. Hall has elevated his game. Benson Mayowa, 4.5 sacks. But the Raiders still do not have that elite player like a Leonard Williams. You add Leonard Williams to this team, he's going to be, I guarantee you, top 5 in sacks. So Benson Mayowa, Mo Hurst, Cleveland, he's got 10 tackles. Max Crosby. Max, I don't know what kind of SPF you're using, my man, but it's working. Then you got P.J. Hall with half a sack. The Raiders, if they want to continue to grow and they want to be a playoff caliber team and they want to win the AFC West, you have to be able to get after the quarterback. And I can guarantee you, with Leonard Williams, they would be able to get after the quarterback much better. P.J. Hall, Jonathan Hankins, Mo Hurst. Those are some serious defensive tackles with Leonard Williams. Then you can leave Max Crosby, Benson Mayowa on the left side. Cleveland Ferrell, he's going to step it up. He's going to get it together. I have confidence in him. That's one hell of a defensive line. But what is it going to take to get Leonard Williams? These trade offers that you see are not what I think it would take. It's what I would offer. I'm not giving up a first-round pick. I want the Raiders to hold on to their first-round picks. And when I hear of a team saying that they're in fire sale mode, I almost think of it as a yard sale. So if you're not going to give me a player for cheap, I don't want him. So right now, if I'm the Raiders, I go to the Jets and I say, hey, how about a third and a fourth? If the Jets say, no, we want more, okay, we're going to move on. I'm going to keep my 2 first-round picks. If they say, yeah, sure, then I pull the trigger. So should the Raiders trade for Leonard Williams? I want you to type 4 for believe it, baby. Or I want you to type 0 for tuck that. Leonard Williams, a player out of USC, a player that I liked a lot. I still think he is one of actually the best defensive linemen in the league. And if you put him on an actual good team, you could see him flourish. Now, I still think Leonard Williams is best in a 3-4 scheme. But when you have a talented player like Leonard Williams, he could fit in a 4-3 if you really wanted him to. All right, so should the Raiders trade for Williams? Okay, type 4 for believe it, baby. Or type 0 for tuck that. If they did trade for Williams, I'd be typing playoffs. But here's the other thing. I'm probably going to be typing playoffs regardless whether or not they trade for Leonard Williams. And if y'all are typing playoffs in the comments section, this is what I want you to do. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Go to BetDSI, chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Raiders120 for 120% deposit bonus. The Oakland Raiders, if the playoffs were to start today, they're in. They got a tough game against the Packers, which you should bet on. They got a tough game against the Texans, and then a tough game against the Lions. I'm definitely betting on the Lions game because I'll be at that one. And if y'all go to BetDSI and you bet on this game, you bet on any Raiders games, hit me up, let me know. And when I'm at the Lions or when I'm at the Jags game, first round's on me. Okay? Sound good? Let's talk about another player with some trade rumors going on around him. It's Patrick Peterson. This is fun. So at least 3 teams have called the Cardinals about a trade. We don't know who those 3 teams are. However, the Arizona Cardinals told teams that they're not trading Patrick Peterson. So Peterson, he's going to return in Week 7 from his 6-game suspension. But I don't know if you all remember, last year, back in October, Patrick Peterson was demanding for a trade. Demanding for a trade. Why? Because he's an elite corner. Heck, you look at some of these numbers, they don't even really justify how elite Patrick Peterson's been. You could actually say he's actually probably been the best cornerback in the entire NFL. And he could shut down an entire side. So he was like, man, I'm getting older. I'm over 30. I want to play for a winning team. And he wants to play for a playoff caliber team. Well, right now, 3-2, winning team, Raiders. Playoff caliber team, Raiders. So should the Raiders trade for Patrick Peterson is the question that I've been getting drilled with in my DMs. Let me finish that. He would be the number 1 cornerback for the Raiders. And he would easily be cheaper than Jalen Ramsey. Now, sure, he is older than Jalen Ramsey. And it is not a long-term solution. But the fact that the Raiders could save, I think, a lot of money because Jalen right now is the top priority out there if he goes out there. And the fact that the Raiders are playing 82% of their snaps at a nickel is a very high rate. The reason why the Raiders are playing so many snaps out of the nickel is because of all the injuries to the linebackers. Because of the inconsistency, we'll say, of those linebackers. You add a player like Patrick Peterson, it makes the defense, well, a lot better. Now, so I said in my rumors video, Darryl Worley, he's playing linebacker, he's playing nickel, he's playing safety. You could line him up just about anywhere. And then you could take the pressure off Garyon. Jeez, as I burp. Yeah, you could take the pressure off Garyon to not be the cornerback 1 because you're going to say, okay, Patrick, step in and shut down part of the field. So what is it going to take for me to get Patrick Peterson on this team? Here it is. It's a low ball offer, I think. I honestly think it's a little bit of a low ball offer. But when I go back and I look at past trades for veterans, and I look at the trade that just happened with Marcus Peters, why can't the Oakland Raiders get Patrick Peterson for a 2023rd? That's what I'm offering. If the Cardinals say no, guess what? I'm okay. The Cardinals want draft picks. And if Patrick Peterson, like he demanded last year, really wants out, guess what? I'm going to try to buy low again. So should the Raiders trade for Patrick Peterson? I want you to type Y for yes or type N for no. Let me sip on my beer. Also, shout out to Texas Raider Nation, Dallas-Fort Worth. You guys take a screenshot of that and save it. Appreciate it for the koozie. Should the Raiders trade for Patrick Peterson? Y for yes, N for no. Joe Mitch says yes. Joe Ortiz says cheers. You know what? Everybody, cheers to y'all. Appreciate you. If you're over 21, though, it's the only way. Let's talk about a player who, I'm telling you right now, if he were to be traded to the Raiders, he'd make y'all drink. So Nelson Agholor, according to reports, is on the trading block, and he was also on the trading block this offseason. According to other sources, teams have shown interest in getting Agholor. And the Eagles, they essentially want secondary help. Okay? So the fact that we're talking about Nelson Agholor, a wide receiver from USC, and I think Nelson was at his best when he played at USC. So what are the chances Nelson would come back to California, I guess for 1 year and then in Vegas next year, and potentially play with the Oakland Raiders? Now, the wide receiver position for the Raiders, as I've already alluded to, is thin. It is. And if we're without Tyrell Williams, it gets even thinner. It's why we went out and got Trevor Davis. It's why we went out and got Zay Jones. But the last 2 seasons for Nelson, you've really kind of seen him elevate his game. Now, in 2015, 2016, definitely a bust. But in 2017, he had 8 touchdowns on 62 catches. 2018, 4 touchdowns, 64 catches. And that's a team that's been spreading the ball out. Nelson Agholor, you're going to get your ups and you're going to get your downs. So should the Raiders trade for Nelson Agholor? When people hit me with this one, they're saying, Mitch, he played football at USC and he played his best football on the West Coast. The Raiders are really thin at wide receiver due to all these injuries, so Nelson could maybe be that wide receiver 2 that Derek Carr needs. My argument with Nelson Agholor is if y'all want to see a wide receiver who is inconsistent with drops, let me introduce you to Nelson Agholor for a second. I don't know if you've seen this meme where this one guy apparently rescued a baby and he's like, yeah, I caught it, unlike Nelson Agholor. There's been times where he just drops wide open balls. There's other times where he makes that spectacular one-handed catch. Nelson, to me, could be an interesting player if he were to be able to live up to his potential. He kind of reminds me of a lesser version of Michael Crabtree. When Michael Crabtree's thinking and he's got his head in this game, you're like, damn, that's a really good receiver. But he also loses his concentration. So if Tyrell Williams, for some reason, is unable to play, I think this is when you might see the Raiders want to go out and potentially make a move. Because Darren Waller, besides him, it's not pretty. Look at these receiving yard leaders, guys. You got Darren there at 359. Tyrell at 216. Hunter Renfrow at 101. Foster Moreau at 97. And Josh Jacobs at 77. Without Tyrell, you see a real issue, realistically, for this team. So let's just say we insert Nelson Agholor onto this team. Tyrell is still number 1. Agholor, I think, would become the number 2. Hunter Renfrow in the slot. You would also see then Keelan Doss, who played 55% of the snaps this past week. I expect Zay Jones to be around 40% of the snaps. It'd be an interesting idea. So should the Raiders trade for Nelson Agholor? I want you to type T for trade, or I want you to type P for pass. I'm going to type my P for pass. Because I don't want to have to deal with the headache of Nelson Agholor. Sure, he's been good sometimes, but he's also been, not so good, in my personal opinion. And if I were to really think about a move and what it would take to get Agholor, I'd probably say the Raiders would have to give up a player like a Nevin Lawson in order to do it. So type T for trade or type P for pass. Now, Chat Sports here. We've got BetDSI as a sponsor. They're the internet's #1 sportsbook. Chatsports.com/bet. You got to use that promo code Raiders120 for 120% deposit bonus. Put down $50, you get 60 for free. Bet on the Raiders to go to the playoffs. Bet on Josh Jacobs to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. And for anybody who gets started with any of our sponsors, I appreciate it because that means that you support me. So if you support me, I love you, and I'll buy first round of you when I'm at the Week 9 against the Lions or, Week 15 against the Jags. So I've had a few people hit me up on Facebook, and if you guys are on Facebook, send me a friend request. Tell me that you watched the show, because if you've watched this far, you're a loyal watcher. So send me a friend request. So Natalie, I appreciate you. We've hung out a few times. Timothy, Wade Raider, that's Deadpool. Johnny, my man, go check Johnny out. And then Chap, I appreciate the DM you sent me yesterday. Send me a friend request on Facebook. I want to get to know you guys a little bit better. It's how I can ultimately grow my show. Then also on IG, I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. I do giveaways there. I post stories about my life. So if you want to see an inside life what the hell I do every day, check me out on IG. But I also then can see what y'all do. So J-Dog, David, Billy Southside, Ivan, Francisco, what I want you guys to do is take a screenshot of this and put it on your IG stories. And then tag me, at Mitchell Renz 365. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this, I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.